Hi everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from British Columbia, Canada. And today I'm here, it's Saturday, and I always jump on at 11 a.m. on Pacific on Saturdays and make a card or a project with you. And today I'm going to make a JoyFold card. This is a really easy fancy fold and kind of one of my favorites. And I'm using the Christmas Barn bundle. First time I've used it, so it's kind of fun. This is going to be the bundle that we use in the July, or not July, where am I? It's September. It's actually in the October Your Creativity Awaits monthly card kit. So if you order the kit or you're interested in the kit from me, this is the bundle that it will be using. Hey Betty, welcome. So I wanted to start to play with it because I haven't had time to actually do any creating with this. So let me switch over to my desktop and we will get started. So I've done some pre-cutting with this, but I will be using the dies. So this is the Christmas Barn bundle. So isn't it pretty? It reminds me very much of a stamp set. Oh gosh, I'm going back many, many years. It wasn't Stampin' Up. It was before I actually knew anything about Stampin' Up. And I made Christmas cards that had a scene similar with a barn in the background and a fence. And it was the first time I had ever used this puff paint, which I'm going to try and use on this because I think this will be perfect to add some snow to my barn. Isn't this cute? These even look like footprints through the snow. Okay, so these are the dies. So you can cut out, of course, the barn. Now these images, oh, no, they are the same size. I thought maybe the images were smaller than what they are, but they aren't. This is the die for the barn. And then, of course, you have the die for the sleigh with the horse, the tree, the wreath. And then you have these other dies. Not sure what that one's for. Oh, that was for the words, I think, maybe. Yeah, that's for the Merry Christmas. That's cool. And then, of course, a fence that you can cut out, or you've got the fence that you can stamp and then cut out. And then some snowflakes and a signpost. It's cool. These are, it's the first time I've actually noticed that these actually cut out just the shape of these sentiments, which is cool. Often you get label dies from Stampin' Up. And then this, I'm thinking that's just some snow. I have to play with that one a little bit. Oh, and even a silo. If you're from a farming community, you've seen silos. And then a ton of snowflakes. All right, so let's get started. Like I said, I have done some cutting and some embossing. So for this JoyFold card, you need a card base. I move things around. I have to get used to my new arrangement. All right. So this card base, this is crumb cake, and this is cut 8 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we're going to score it at 5 1/2. Let me make sure I've got this cut. Yeah, I think I've got this cut wrong. So let me grab another piece of paper. Another piece of crumb cake. Sure where my, okay, so we're going to cut this to be 5 1/2. Get it cut right. Okay. And then 8 1/4. So we're just taking a little 1/4 inch off of that strip. And then we're going to score it at 5 1/2. And I hope this is right. Got me a little worried. Okay. Yeah, I don't think this is right. I'm not sure my brain is. So this is actually needing to be 4 1/4. Let me think about this. 8 1/2. I have to grab a card that I've made. Isn't that terrible? Yes, sorry. This should be 4 1/4. There we go. Okay, so this piece is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4. So my measurements that I had written down were wrong. So that's going to be the card base, and then it's scored at 5 1/2. So I may have to do some cutting of my other pieces, but you know, it wouldn't be the first time I had things not cut quite right. Okay, so then I've got 2 pieces. So I'm using crumb cake, and no, that one's cut right, and cherry cobbler. So this piece of cherry cobbler is cut 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. And then I've got a piece of basic white that I went ahead. I'm not sure you can see that. There we go. This is actually embossed using the Whimsical Woodland embossing folder. So this is a piece of basic white that was cut at 2 1/2 by 4 and then embossed. And so this is going to go on my card front. I just thought this kind of image of these trees in behind. The other one I was thinking of using is the I think it's called Charming Landscapes. That is the part of the Santa's Express suite. Okay. Now that's going to go on the front. So that's the front of the JoyFold card. And then you're going to have a piece of basic white that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 that is going to go on the inside of the card. There we go. So that's the first part. And then the second part is a piece of that's going to fold back over. Oops, and I shouldn't have put that down. So we'll just lift this up a little bit before we do it. So we've got another piece of crumb cake that is, this one is cut 2 3/4 by 5, and we're going to score this one at 4 1/4. And this little 3/4 of an inch flap that I'm just going to take and burnish with my bone folder because I want this to fold nicely, is going to take and tuck underneath, which is why I shouldn't have put my layer down. So this is going to just tuck in under against and line up with the edge of the card base, just like that, kind of in the middle, roughly. There we go. So, and then this piece, I'm going to put some more glue, will go down and cover that piece. There we go. All right. So now we've got kind of the mechanism of our JoyFold. So we've got a piece that folds over like that and a piece that folds over like that. So I went ahead and cut out a piece. Again, this is cherry cobbler, and this piece is 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. It's going to go on the front like this. Oopsie. My cherry cobbler slipped a little bit. There we go. Oh, welcome. Hey, Hazel, welcome. Jude, welcome. Yes, I love this. And when I saw this, when I saw it, it was so much reminded me of cards I made so many years ago that I had to have this. Yeah. Okay. And then I've got a piece of basic white, and this piece was 2 1/2 by 4. And again, I embossed it using the Whimsical Woodland. Now, you do have to think about this. So for this one, I wanted it going the lengthways so that my trees, because it's a different shape. So make sure you think about which way you've got your trees facing when you do your embossing. Otherwise, you'll get your trees going sideways. All right, there we go. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to do some stamping and coloring. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the barn. And I'm going to keep the barn, sorry for the noise, as I pull the plastic off my sheet for the first time. I'm going to stamp the barn in early espresso. I need a bigger block. And I'm going to stamp it on crumb cake. So I want a light brown colored barn. And then I'm going to do some coloring on it. And normally when you color using your blends, you stamp in tuxedo black. But if you're a little careful, you can actually stamp in another color, like the early espresso. Now the other thing I want to do, get my dies. I think I'm going to actually stamp. I was going to cut this barn out, but I think I'm going to stamp the barn. Not stamp the barn, stamp the fence in early espresso as well, and we'll cut this out. Like that. And I might as well keep this out because I want to stamp this sentiment. And I'm going to use this sentiment that says Merry Christmas to you and yours. And we're going to stamp this on here. And we're going to cut all of these out using the dies. So I've got my Post-it note tape here. So if you don't have Post-it note tape, you can use Post-it notes or some washi tape just to hold this, your die in place so that it doesn't shift. Hey Alice, welcome from Ontario after your big move. Gosh, it looked like you had quite the adventure. And you're all hopefully getting settled into your new house. And welcome from North Carolina. Gosh, got lots of people on today. Yeah, no, that is the right way. So we're just going to cut this fence out. So when you're lining this fence up, what you can do is there are lines, of course, openings here. So just make sure that you can see the fence posts between those lines. So a little bit there. And then the last one I want is this die that will cut out the Merry Christmas to you and yours. All right, there's that. So let's bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And just cut all of these out. Like that. To get used to this. I'm not used to how I've moved things around here. It was a busy morning this morning. All right, so save my little pieces of Post-it note tape. Now I've got my barn and my sentiment and my fence. Okay, so let's just do some coloring. Now, I'm going to do my barn. I've just grabbed some some crumb cake, and I'm going to just do my barn kind of tone on tone with the crumb cake. This is the light, and I will go over it and add some dark lines to it as well. But I'm just going to add some color. Even though I've cut it out of crumb cake, I just kind of want to add a little bit deeper color to it. Oh, like my nails? I had this idea I was gonna, go a little bit fall. And so when I saw these colors, I thought, oh, those are great. They're kind of sort of fall, but they're not quite fall, but they turned out quite bright and almost tropical. So anyway, I thought they were kind of fun too. I never know what my nails are going to look like until I actually come home, because usually I haven't decided what they're going to be until I get there. All right, so that's that. Now I'm going to take the dark crumb cake and I'm just going to do the barn door. Probably should be in cherry cobbler, which I could do. Maybe I'll do the trim in cherry cobbler. Okay. Let's try and do the trim. There we go. I'm going to do the roof red. So I'm not really worrying too much. I'm just kind of drawing the lines. So if I go over a little bit, it's okay. Now I'm going to do the barn roof. This is the dark. So I'm just kind of doing the eaves or the trim in the dark cherry cobbler. I forgot my roof peak. All right, and then I'm going to do the roof itself in the light. It's not a lot of difference in the cherry cobbler. I need to be using the fine tip end. That's better. Okay, so we've got our barn. Now I am going to put this on. So this is going to go like this and like this. I put this on last, and then I think I will put that. Let's see. Okay, we'll figure out where that goes. Okay, so I'm going to put this on before I put my the puff paint on, just because it's kind of the last thing I like to do is use the puff paint. It takes a minute. And so I get my card assembled and then I kind of get my puff paint going. So I'm using dimensionals. Oh, morning, Ginny from Alaska. Welcome. All right. So maybe if I put this over like this, and then let's poke. Actually, okay, I've got the fence pieces out. Trying to decide. Maybe there. Okay, let's do that. Kind of making my decisions as I go here. Yeah, so put that over like that. And then this piece. Okay, we'll decide. I haven't decided. All right, let's get the puff paint going. Actually, I have also this kind of looks like burlap twine. Looks like binder twine to me, having grown up on a farm or in a farming community. I guess I didn't really grow up on a farm, but a farming community. It's got silver in it. So I'm just going to take a piece of this. This will make my card a little thicker because it is quite thick. So I'm just going to take and tie this, and I'm just going to tie it in a, oopsie, in a knot here, hopefully tight. Like that, just to give it some decoration on this edge. I'll fix that in a minute. Okay, so there's that. like that. Okay, so now let's get the puff paint. Now, what you want to do when you use puff paint is make sure you shake this really well. And then you can take, and I'm going to put just a little bit of puff paint. Oh, and so the thicker you get it, the bigger your puff paint will be. So I'm going to take it and put kind of snow all along down here, and maybe just a little bit of snow along the edge of my fence. We'll see if that's enough. We can always go in and add more. So I do find that you want to, less is more, and then you can go in and add more. Then you want to put your heat tool on high and just leave it until you start to see it puffing. You will start to see it dry out, and you're not going to really be able to see as I do this, because if I tilt it in any way, my paint's going to run. But what you want to do is just leave it on the puff paint. So I'm trying to get my hands out of the way. There we go. Until you start to see it puff up, and it is quite magical when it starts. I don't know if you can actually see that. Can you see it start to puff up? And so the more you heat it, the more it puffs. See? Right. I'll show you in just kind of hard to see. But this puff paint is just so much fun. All right, now I think I'm going to put some more on, but let me show you what it's kind of look like. So can you see the puffiness? So I probably want to put a little bit more there. I'm okay with it along the fence. And then I do want some more here. So like I said, less is more. So start with just a little bit, and then you can kind of go in and add some more. I do want a little bit more in here. You do want to be a little bit careful, because depending on where you hold, and if you start to kind of blow it around as it's really liquidy, you may get the puff paint where you don't want it to be. I think this is going to be okay, because it'll sort of look like it's dripping off of the roof. There we go, that's definitely more puff. Before it starts to dry, it definitely will move around on you, so just be a little bit careful. There we go. All right, so there, I think I've got enough, oops, there we go, enough snow on my ground along the fence line, and then along that little bit. You can do more. Oh, put some on the chimney. Yes, that's probably a good place to have put some, maybe just up here a little bit. I don't want a lot up there, but just a little bit along that. It's a good plan. Okay. This shouldn't take long. There we go. Okay, good idea. Who said that? Denise. I think it's Denise. Okay, there we go. So the last thing I need is to figure out where this should go. Do I want to cover up part of the barn? Do I want to put it there? Maybe I'll put it there. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to use mini dimensionals on this. It's not all that wide. Maybe I'll put 4 just because it's quite long. Don't want it to sag in the middle. All right, that will go kind of hopefully straight. And I didn't actually bring any embellishments, so it'll have to just be the twine. I think it needs some embellishments. It's feeling like it's a little lopsided, but I'll have to find some embellishments to put on it because I didn't grab any. All right, so there is a JoyFold card. Now, if you wanted to put something on the inside, but I've got the sentiment down here, so I don't really think it needs anything on the inside. Okay. So there's a JoyFold card for you. They really aren't that hard. Sorry about the confusion about the measurement at the start, and I'll get this right when I actually post it on my blog. So the actual instructions will get on my blog when this card gets posted. I hope you enjoyed that. Join me tomorrow at 12 noon, and I will be live with another project for you. So I hope you have a great day. Happy stamping. Bye.